Hey, and welcome to the Vergecast for the week of May 21st, 2012. I'm Josh Topolsky.
I'm Paul Miller.
That is how he sounds.
Yeah.
What's his hair doing here? What is that? Yeah, that's better. It's going to come down there. Yeah. Just put it back down. Right there.
Can we tell the story about Nilay?
So Nilay...
About
so
15
Nilay,
minutes
hold on,
ago.
wait. So first off, this is the Vergecast where we discuss the week in technology, culture, and tech culture, and culture tech.
In street and mainstream.
In mainstream... What?
Intersection of
Main Street. We're at the intersection.
I said the interstream.
We're at the intersection of Main Street and the lamestream media. Nilay, of course, would be sitting here, but he was stuck in traffic.
Right.
But then, like 10 minutes ago, maybe even longer, somebody was like, "Nilay's here. His cab is here. He's here." Kyle is a friend of his, and he also works with the sports guys. Kyle has to run out and give him cab fare because he doesn't have enough.
That was 10 minutes.
That was like easily 10 minutes ago.
So I think they had.
I think Kyle was like, why bother coming in? We can just go get a drink.
Maybe Kyle forgot the fare too, as he had to call somebody else.
I don't know.
And then it's just like a chain of forgetfulness.
I think. Look who it is, Mister. I'm here in my cab 10 minutes ago. What? Can we get it?
I wasn't here. I said I was in traffic.
Well, here's what we heard from our end. By the way, we're on the air.
I know.
Okay. So here's what we heard from on our end is that you were here 10 minutes ago, and Kyle went out to get you cab fare, and that was like, and then 10 minutes went by, and we were like, let's just get started. Nilay Patel, everybody.
Hello.
You can say I'm Nilay Patel. We can sub it in
I'm Nilay Patel.
because he made a funny like I'm Nilay Patel. That's like the voice.
Thank you, Paul. It's really nice of you. No, I had a delightful New York cab experience where the credit card machine was magically broken up until the time when I was like, it's going to take me a second to get cash. He's like, the machine that works.
I fixed it. I fixed it by turning it back on.
All right.
Here's what I like about New York is when I am leaving the city and I'm like, I've got to go to Brooklyn, and they're like, no. Or, which by the way, I've actually like been sat in the back of a car and I'm like, I'm going to Brooklyn. They're like, I'm not going to Brooklyn. I'm like, yes, you are. They're like, no. And we just sat there.
Just waiting.
And then I was like, okay, I'm going to get out now. And then I get out and leave their door open because they're jerks.
because they have
that is the most passive
Just
aggressive
know,
move in the
just
world.
know, cabbies, if you kick me out of your cab because you don't want to go to Brooklyn, I will leave your back door open. You're going to have to get out and close it.
They have like kind
By
of.
the way, pro tip, if you live in New York, that's how you get back at the cab if you want to take you to Brooklyn. You leave the back door open and
pretty
walk.
good.
What are they going to do? Go after you? They can't. They got to shut their back door.
They got to chase you to Brooklyn.
What are they going to do? Go all the way to Brooklyn to get you? Anyhow, it's good times here in New York. Wonderful city, full of wonderful people. So Paul Miller, you're here. Nilay Patel is here.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
We weren't here. We did not do a Vergecast last week because the show on the Verge was last week on Thursday, and we're doing it on Thursday this week, or not this week, but this coming month.
Doing another one?
June 21st.
This week?
Yes. No. June 21st. And so I think what we'll do is we'll move the Vergecast. We'll either do it a day earlier or a day later. I think a day earlier might be
definitely
fair.
earlier. Doing it the next day is like,
Yeah, because we're dead.
I have nothing left.
Because with all that performing,
We give it our all.
we give it our all. And when you give something your all,
You don't have anything
you
left.
don't have anything left. You end up with nothing. This is like these are the lyrics of an inspirational. This is like from the Karate Kid. You know the Joe Esposito song.
Yeah.
You're the best.
Yeah.
This is like the lyric, kind of like an alternate lyrics to it. When you give it,
These
your
are the ones
all,
I threw away.
When you give it your all, you don't have anything left.
Yeah.
What was the other thing?
And maybe it's like, I don't know. No, I think that's, you're left with nothing.
And you're left with nothing.
Right.
But you got to fight back.
Yeah, I think the chorus should be something like, you've got to take one more step.
You got to take one more step. You have to fight back. Own it.
Don't,
Own it.
Don't let them tell you no.
Crush it. Don't take no for an answer.
No, those are like the alt and those are the off lyrics.
Oh, own it.
Yeah.
Crush it. It's like background
like
lyrics.
Paul's like, you've got, don't let him take you. No,
Own it.
Crush it.
Yeah. Sure.
Those are the
Well, this is an important conversation, one that I know you tune in for, viewer and or listener. Let's talk about. Why don't we
I
just?
have a whole list.
Well, we were talking about the rally, the anti-internet rally,
Yeah.
before you got here, and I thought, wow, I just hit myself. I gotta hate this armature. I really do. This is becoming a meme, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I want that armor.
You know what's cool? Memes.
too.
You know what's in right now? Memeing.
You talk to any Orthodox Jews about memes?
Come on.
You know, somebody kept on saying meme. Yeah, one of the guys I interviewed, the guy who he claimed to be a spokesperson, but he writes for like a a Jewish newspaper, and he
Who,
was not ultra
the
orthodox.
last guy.
The guy who
who
recognized
recognized
me.
you.
Yeah, and he kept on saying the
Well,
word.
he actually
me.
recognized you.
That's
you,
true. I
He
claim to be
recognized
Paul
him.
Miller.
You're like, I'm Paul Miller. But if you haven't seen this, but let me just set the stage because nobody knows what we're talking about unless you've seen it. So this week, Sunday, sorry. A large group of Orthodox Jews.
I mean, a ridiculously large.
For over 40,000 Orthodox
40,000
Jews.
in one
They
stadium.
had a rally at
20,000 in another stadium.
At Citi Field. Oh, so 60 total.
Yeah.
They had a rally at Citi Field, which was anti-internet.
It's about the proper use of the. internet.
There were multiple messages. Some people were like, "Don't use it at all unless you absolutely have to." Some people were like, "Use it, but use filters."
Well, but I think people get confused when you say anti-internet. It sounds like we want the internet to be shut down. You know, I think.
no, I
and
mean,
the thing most
when
of the
I hear
speaking,
anti-internet, I think they're against the internet.
Well, but most of the speaking, it was about how they use the internet versus not like how the internet's been forced upon them. It's just that they have to make this delicate decision of how to use it.
Delicate Decision, the new album.
I like how they called it a terrible tool several times.
Terrible tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like by default a tool, and then it's like there's a lot of adjectives to attach to a tool.
Yeah. Like a terrible hammer. There's a part of all of that. I think saying we have to filter it and we can't use it without supervision.
You agree?
Well, no. But there's a part of it where the internet has been such a free space for so long that there are like many very slimy, shady quarters. Like the scam world.
Scam world.
I mean, it's there, right?
I do think it's reasonable to say not everyone should see all of the internet all the time.
Right.
Like, I think we could all agree on this.
But the thing is,
If we
it's
had
not
children-
just like in the corners of the internet.
If we
It's
had-
there. Like,
we-
you know,
no,
like
no,
Reddit's
yeah.
great, right? It's like a political force in America. It's
the
this-
front page of the internet.
Yeah, but it's this enormous community. Here it is, and then it's like one click away to like deep, weird porn. And it's just there.
Fewer than one if you know what you're doing.
It's
More like
several
a half
keystrokes away.
click.
I
Yeah.
just want this to.
And
is-
it's
there's
just, I mean, that's everywhere, you know.
Can
And
we
it's
just get a comfortable setup in this studio? This thing is like always breaking. Did I just kick you? Sorry. My chair is not the right. Maybe if it's. What's that?
you're having a real diva moment right now. I gotta say, it's pretty good.
What if I were this short?
I mean,
Would that freak you out?
I'd finally be able to tower over you.
I
as
think
I've
I'd
long
lose a lot
dreamed.
of like innate respect for you.
Like
Yeah.
Tyrion Lannister.
Stop like doing what you say for some reason.
That's going to be a GIF. I like. Do you know what it's like to know that at least one person will do a GIF of every moment of your life
I
on
imagine it's
the
pretty good.
internet? These are broken.
Is that true?
No, but there are a lot of movement. Any movement is a
Yeah.
GIF.
Do you want to get back
Okay.
to talking about the
And yeah, so
internet
Paul
thing?
went to the anti-internet rally, and he filed a report that I thought was very enlightening, and I think it showed a pretty nuanced. Like, I get it. I get why these people. No, I get it's. By the way, very sensitive. Like when you're dealing with a religious group, like you feel like you can't say anything. You're like a group of individuals.
I've actually like what's interesting to me about this is I have yet to hear you like pull your trump card, which is I am Jewish, because you know.
Well, okay, so I mean, if you want to get technical,
I'm just saying, like,
I mean, I was raised Jewish.
but we had.
I don't.
There was some discussion.
I'm
of,
obviously socially Jewish.
but there was some discussion of our headline, right? Which was
Yeah,
the
I was
Jewish
just telling Paul about this. He
Which
was
I
mad.
didn't write that.
He didn't write. He didn't sign off on the headline.
Josh wrote the headline.
Josh is just clickbaiting.
That's what the editor in chief is for.
No. I mean, I
That's
understand.
literally all I'm good for is writing headlines.
Right.
No, but the headline. But the complaint. about
Josh
the
was
headline,
comfortable with the headline, and
The complaint about the headline was that, like, you said it was a Jewish anti-internet
Right.
rally, and it was an Orthodox Jew anti-internet rally.
I think the sensitivity with categorize, especially when you are referring to, you know, it's like when you're referring to a religious group, it's like saying like, you know, let's say like a guy who claims to be Christian murdered
Yeah.
somebody, right?
Yeah.
And it's like Christian murders somebody.
Well, who would write that?
Well, I don't know who would write that.
I don't know.
This thing is when you I mean, even in ultra orthodox, there's a ton of different things.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those sects would probably have been totally fine with
Sex.
with women. SECTS. would have been fine with women being at the rally.
no, there was some
but
debate.
there's a small percentage that could just definitely not abide.
No, there
that
was
at
some
all.
debate about that because they didn't allow women at the rally.
You know, one of the pictures had just a super fascinating detail to me. They have ads for Cholula hot sauce at Citi Field.
Oh yeah.
And they covered up the painting of the Cholula girl.
No way.
in Citi Field.
I did not notice that.
Somebody in comments pointed out.
I didn't know there was a Cholula girl.
Neither did I.
I mean, like, no, but like,
it's just what
there's
Eli
like a
White is
picture.
fine.
Like a
No,
poster
somebody-
of the Cholula girl.
Yeah,
Hey,
across
I'm
from the
a
bed.
one sriracha man. No, there's a picture, and they were like, "Why are those ads covered up?" And somebody's like,
Oh.
"They covered up the bottle." And then
I
I went
didn't
and looked
notice
at my
that at
bottle
all.
of Cholula, and I was like, "There's a painting of it."
It wasn't just the bottle they were covering up. It was that beautiful Cholula body.
It's just like
anyhow,
fascinating to me.
But so this is driving me crazy.
So that's the
hold on, wait,
sensitivity
wait.
is you can't you just don't want to say blank large category people
Can you After
did,
Effects this hair?
did this thing.
Yeah.
But it was a Jewish rally. It was for Jews.
Yes. There were
It was
yes.
for Orthodox Jews. Anyhow, that was the only thing I heard about the headline. Everybody else loved it. But let's actually talk about the article because it was a very well written article and very sensitive, I think, to both sides of the issue. And you talked to Avi Greengart, who's an analyst and a friend of ours, and
It's very helpful.
he was very helpful. And also, he was in comments like kind of defending the piece, which I took
Yeah.
as a good sign. And I've actually heard from a lot of people, regular Jews, Orthodox Jews, I guess secular Jews, Orthodox Jews, non-Jews, and a lot of people have said they really like the way you handled it. That you kind of presented both sides of the argument. I think you made some very good points about there being real parallels between, people saying, well, not parallels, but people say like, we don't want you to see the bad stuff, but it's kind of like feels in some instances that they don't want you to see any
Well-
of the stuff.
Well, I mean, and that was kind of the whole point of the piece is that, like, I have, friends who are Jewish, friends who are like Israeli, secondhand, no ultra-Orthodox Jews. I don't know any personally. And it's like ultra-Orthodox Jews don't read the newspaper.
Well,
They don't. Like, that's
not
like,
the New York Times.
not the news. They don't read, like, they wouldn't read a secular newspaper. So the idea is that this isn't like something, this is a new thing that they're fighting against some new technology or some source of outside information. Their whole point for most of them
Is to be set aside,
set aside
apart.
and limit themselves from. And the thing is, like, I wouldn't want you to take away like, I need to decide whether I like that worldview, because I think you've already decided that unless you are an ultra-Orthodox, you probably decided not to be an ultra-Orthodox, or, there might be certain requirements that you don't meet to be an ultra-Orthodox.
Such as?
But
No, it's okay.
what's interesting to me is this idea that as an ultra-Orthodox Jew, you have a worldview, and you want to view the internet through the lens of that worldview. And I think,
Right.
a lot of people have worldviews, and I think it's important not to just take the internet unquestioned, and to instead, kind of reassess what is your worldview and how does the internet fit into that. Because otherwise, the internet has a lot of, its own forces. It's pushing you in a direction. I was just reading, like, is Facebook making us lonely in the Atlantic?
Yeah.
And it's like it's not Facebook that's making us lonely, but it allows for a lonely or a narcissistic person to really express those aspects of their personality and to increase their narcissism or increase their loneliness. And so you just have to be, like, aware of that the internet allows for pathways that you don't necessarily want.
Yeah.
And so you just have to kind of be aware. And so I appreciate, even though I disagree with most of their worldview, that they have a worldview that they're attempting to approach the internet.
At least it's an ethos.
I think that without
big
getting
one,
into, without going down too far down a rabbit hole, the internet is I don't see the internet as being set apart from my life, in the sense that there are things that I need to do that take place on the internet. There are things that I like to do that take place on the internet. And I don't. It's not like a critical. Like, I'm not like, man, I got to critically think about what the internet is.
I think that's the problem, though.
Well, no, but I think the problem is the problem is not like not thinking critically about it. I think the problem is if you think of it as something more than like a telephone or a television or a video games console or a book or a car or anything that like in your life that you need to do something with or that you use for something, like I think the danger is that the internet becomes something that is like all encompassing, that instead of like, not that you're not doing critical thinking about it, but just that like it's like that you are so interested in it that it becomes all encompassing.
But it is.
I don't think it requires, but no, it's not really.
No, but that's this thing. It's like if you, and I think the rally is the ultimate expression of this kind of moment that we're having, where the internet is now the only engine of like activity.
I see it as a means to an end.
I don't. I think I said what I was doing a Reddit AMA about CISPA, and it was like people kept on asking why can't they stay out of the internet, and it's like they can't, because that's where you are.
Well, that's
Right. Like,
inevitable. I mean, you have to regulate. At some point, the internet has very much been like a Wild West.
Right.
Like I think when people say that is actually true.
And the thing is, like, okay, fine. Like, here you go. Here's the greatest experiment in anarchy that has ever existed, right? Here's just everybody do what you want to do and we'll organize it however you want. And that's great. I think a lot of amazing things have happened. And like I get my paycheck because of that. That's awesome.
Yes. Congratulations.
But then there's also all these bad things, right? And the bad things stretch from there's kiddie porn on Reddit to
is there? I mean, that's what some of you told me the other day, and I don't know. Is that happening? Does that happen?
Yeah, they keep on. They're doing a fine job of moderating.
I guess I don't check out Reddit heavily enough to find the kiddie porn.
I mean, I don't mean to keep picking on Reddit. It came to mind.
Yeah, come on, the front page of the internet. Leave it alone.
But then the flip side of that, all the way up the chain, is okay. Well, now we've built this amazing communications tool that is completely in control by 3 companies.
Right.
Right, it's 4: Comcast, Time Warner, Verizon, and AT&T.
In America.
Right, in America. But it's the same situation everywhere that we've just let it go.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, maybe we do need to like critically think about how this thing exists. And the rally to me is like the ultimate expression of we're going to put 60,000 people in a room and talk about it.
Well, and
it wasn't talking about it. It was preaching about it. And what it was, and this is the thing.
Actually, I didn't get this. Was it preaching? What
it was
what
kind
was
of all of that. I think the thing is that you can't think of the internet as something that's, like you said, it's part of real life, right?
Yeah, that's right.
The internet, it's not like there's IRL and virtual.
That's the way I think of it.
The internet is IRL. And you have to look at IRL, or you have to look at real life, and if the internet's part of real life, as like, if you want to look at like life chemically, which a lot of people do now, there's chemical things that happen when you have social connections. There's chemical things that happen when you have sexual connections. There's chemical things that happen.
Are you hitting on me?
Yes.
He looked at me right in the eye.
Yeah, I saw that.
So if you let's say you go on the internet, you could be addicted to Twitter, or you could at least use that to satisfy the same emotional things that you want, and then you don't get them from a meat space relationship, And so I think you have to be aware of the internet, that it is.
Well, but you said you said meat space relationship, but you mean like a different relationship. I mean, if we were thinking of it as IRL.
Well, I differentiate it, meat space, as like you can reach out and actually touch somebody.
Yeah.
So I just think you have to see the internet as it's not just this one thing. Like, what's the problem? It's all on the internet. It's all on a computer. It's not a big deal. It's really, really inside of your life, inside of your brain, and so you can let it rewire you. You can satisfy emotional urges using the internet and disconnect yourself from your actual family and stuff like that. Those things are possible. So you have to see the internet that way. And so I think half of it was like letting people know that the internet tends to push people in a way that's kind of away from an ultra-Orthodox worldview, which is basically sit down, study the Torah all the time, teach it to your kids,
and live a life
spend time with your kids,
and live a life based on the rules of the Torah, essentially.
Yes.
So here's it, and this is where I get a little sensitive. As you know, I am an atheist. I don't believe in God, and And what I see in this rally, and I do think there are some like positive things in it. Like I do think that it is positive to say, think about what you're doing and think about how you're spending your time and think about what your children are seeing and like, worry about it and do something about it if you feel like you're not comfortable with it. What worries me is that, I think traditionally religion has been, religion is not about asking questions. I mean, in many ways, it's about here are the answers to the questions. And I think that, and I'm not going to blanket every religion. I just want to say that, like,
You did say the word religion.
Judeo-Christian religions are, they're not. There's a book with answers. And in fact, you're told that all the time. And look, I was raised Jewish, so I was told that all the time. And I think that it is, especially to the Orthodox Jews, because they are it's a small group. They are very much set apart from the life that we're in. I mean, even you as a very religious Christian, you live in the real world. Like you live in our world, and you read like the same magazines. I mean, to your point, like you read regular magazines and books, and you read whatever you want, pretty much, and like you're like more integrated into the world, right? And so this one's very set apart, and I think that there is a fear there amongst that community that look, the internet may lead to porn, but it also may lead to people going like, well, wait a second, there are other books out there, or there are other magazines out there, there's another life that there could be out there for me. And
so the thing I think that is interesting about that is that all the bad things that are on the internet, they're in the meat space. Like you can go to a porn store.
Let's see.
It's all there.
Kitty
right?
porn, not really that easy to come by in the meat space.
But they're not.
I don't know how to
They're
engage
not
that
worried.
question.
You're like, not for me.
I mean, an ultra orthodox is worried about like a tight fitting dress.
No, they're worried
Like
about
the Cholula girl,
They're
man.
literally worried about an ankle.
I mean,
Yeah, they're
I
worried
admit
about it.
she's a little spicy.
No.
And that's our podcast for the week, everyone.
I think that the thing is,
Creighton looks so unhappy with me.
We're all very unhappy about this. I mean, this is just. Can I just get this up higher?
I mean,
Like,
the thing is, ultimately,
it's not right either.
we do have a religious freedom that allows people to live however they want and to raise their kids however they want. And at a certain point, those kids can make their own decisions. And there are certain amounts of laws that regulate them, but for the most part, they can.
There's
they
a
can do
really
that.
awesome quote
I give up.
in a feature we wrote this week.
I give up.
The Keene book. You know what I'm talking about, Josh?
It's cool.
That is not cool. No, what I was saying is,
I'm really like. I'm just uncomfortable over here.
I know.
This thing never works. The chair is uncomfortable.
I think the question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
The Keene.
I'm trying to find.
Yeah,
it.
we ran a feature on Andrew Keene. It's an interview, and it's a look.
I bought the book. I mean,
look at his
book
book.
looks
It's called
fascinating.
Digital Vertigo, and it's basically about how the internet is destroying our lives and our minds,
I guess it wasn't in the Keene
and
book.
distraction culture.
Well, the weird thing is that that's like the majority of books on the topic, as far as I can tell.
I just think we're going through this. I mean, this same thing happened with television. But people were like, television is gonna ruin your life and separate you from your family, and you're not going to be able to pay attention to your kids. And it was true. It was right. And we raised a generation. We raised a generation of kids who like went on to invent the internet, and now they're doing a more hyper version of television.
Right.
Like it's like a more distracting
so
version.
I think when you said
We're doomed as a society. Let's
As far
just
as-
soak it in and enjoy it.
as far as religion,
Craig Sean's shaking his head over. He knows what's up.
as far as religion,
You down? You down with that?
questions,
You down with it?
I'm gonna get this one out.
You're gonna get it.
As far
Craig
as
Sean, what's up?
Shut up.
Okay, go ahead.
As far as religion asking questions,
Yes.
I think most religions are going to look at. We've got this book of answers. We've got modern society as it is, and the question is like, how now should we live?
Yeah.
Like that's the question they ask.
Right.
And that's a question a Christian would ask, and that's a question Orthodox Jew would ask.
No, but I think that's also in many. This is what I'm saying. It's also the question the government is asking. Right?
Everybody's
Because-
asking.
Well, no, because if
even an aatheist has a set of morals that they're attempting to fulfill and how they live.
because
Do you
if
have another one of these stands?
you're just freaking out.
I hate
Do you want to
this thing.
trade?
I hate
I'll
it.
trade you right now.
I've been asking.
Here,
I've
here.
been
We have
asking
the
for
same
that
one.
armature this whole time.
go.
This whole time since
here.
podcast.
Great.
Brandon,
Wonderful.
when you produce
Vergecast
this,
Yeah, this is
one.
broken.
oh god.
Can we get this? You know what? We can't just switch mics like that. Here, take that. Here, hold on.
Can't you? Can't you?
Wait, this
Yeah, look, this is freedom, man. This is what the internet provided us. I think you broke this actually, just in the short moments that you touched it.
Hey, maybe I fixed this.
No, look, this is real bad now.
Sorry, everyone who has to hear any of this or watch any of it. We just, you know what? We just can't afford a better thing to put this mic on. Actually, I bet this is like really expensive. It's fine, guys. It's fine. I'm just going to use it for this one. We'll figure it out next time. I'm sorry I said anything. I really am.
Is it fine, Josh?
I mean, this doesn't stay tight. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Okay, anyhow, getting back onto this topic. What were we talking about?
Very quickly. Yeah, I'm just letting you wrap this up.
It's fine. There we go.
It's sort of fun.
Houston, you're on the air. We should take a call.
Want to take a call?
From Thomas Houston.
Does anybody have? Give us a call.
What was the Andrew Keene thing?
Yeah,
I
what
want
is
to
the
hear
Andrew
that.
Keene
I
thing?
can't find it, but
Before we take a call.
I'm pretty sure I read another piece.
Give us a call. It is
Josh.
888 418 4074. Go ahead.
I mean, his basic thing was individual liberty is constantly jeopardized throughout time, throughout history, right? And he's saying his quote in our piece is, "We live in a similar time now. Our contemporary call to the social and orthodoxy of online sharing threatens because this is the right thing, and that's the social pressure. Any pushback on it is viewed as like
An attack.
regressivism. Yeah, it's viewed as you're not participating in the endless forward march.
I think that
which is a restriction on liberty.
I think you have to be smart about. I think you have to be smart, and I think that being smart is. And I agree with Paul that, we should be asking the question. And you're having problems with your mic?
Just thought I'd do a little higher.
You want to join me? But I think you have to ask the question. You do have to think about how you're using it, and you have to look at yourself and say, like, have I cut myself off from normal human connections, or I guess normal human connections for something else? But then there's that question, which is, what is normal? What is healthy?
Well,
when I was a kid, I was a lonely kid.
Right.
I didn't have a lot of friends. Can you imagine? What were the odds that I didn't have a lot of friends?
Right.
And I spent a lot of time on the internet.
Well,
and I talked to a lot of like strangers on the internet,
I mean,
and they were like, "Hey, little boy, do you want to come over?" And I was like, "I don't know. My parents wouldn't be happy." And I went over anyhow.
There's obvious ways that it's expanded our ability to be social with one another. But there's also it's Shelley Turkle.
Yeah.
Her thing.
She do Alone Together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her thing is that basically real relationships are a little too hard, so we do like the safer thing. We'd rather, for instance, we wouldn't want to interfere or risk the rejection of making a real phone call to really talk to somebody. So we send people these passive, nonlinear like tweets and emails and text messages.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that they interrupt people on their own time, and so it's in a way asking less of other people, so that because you fear this rejection, you fear the real intimacy of a real relationship.
Well, it is, and a phone call is very intimate. You're dialing into. I mean, when you actually think about what a phone call is, you're dialing into this person's world.
Right.
They're alarmed by it because it's like a loud ring is what alerts them to it. And then suddenly you're like forced into a conversation. You have no idea what the conversation will be on the other end of the line.
I've been noticing this a lot because I call people a lot more, and some of my friends have started to build the courage to call me. But for me, I have to call them. That's the only way I can get a hold of them. But a lot of my friends still kind of like won't call just because they don't like that idea of interrupting. So I've been calling a lot more. It's really weird.
Well, it is. I think that's why we all
need
need butlers, and someone would call on you. That your butler would tell you of the person that being. I mean, I've been watching a lot of Downton Abbey, so this might have something.
Also,
to do with
Josh has had a hard week without Michael Shane.
Michael Shane, our editorial assistant, has been around, and I seriously
literally
can't,
falling apart.
I can't do anything. I can't work this mic.
Oh, gosh.
No, but
I've needed a Diet Coke for like an hour.
Yeah, I know, right?
What the hell, man?
But there is this. No, I'm good. There is
I'm
this.
not good.
I mean, I'll have a seltzer if you want to. There is this. It is kind of like we don't. I mean, nobody ever thought about it, right? We just made the phone. That's just how it works. We went from like letter writing to telegraph.
That's not how that worked at all. There was a lot of
No,
There was a lot of teeth
we just
gnashing.
made the phone.
No, but
I mean, like the the transition from there wasn't a phone to there was a telegraph to now there's a phone that was like a hugely chaotic.
But I'm saying, like, how many books were written? I'm sure there are many books.
Many. Tim Wu just wrote one called The Master Switch.
Will destroy our world.
Thoreau and Walden, he's like, we're stringing a telegraph across the ocean, but but why? What do we have to say to each other? And it's like, is the first thing we're gonna say is like some gossip about a princess? It's like,
well, but on
nailed it.
What? No, I see that. Yeah. But on the flip side, these are all the same person. Oh, I see. Okay. But on the flip side of that, incredible advances.
Yes, of course.
Never would have. I mean, our world is changed for the better because of the ability to communicate and share ideas across large.
Absolutely. It's just that you can't take on a new technology non-critically.
We're gonna take a call. Caller, you're on the air. What is your name, and what are your thoughts on the
internet?
On the internet and the Orthodox
my name is
rally.
Zach.
Hi, Zach.
Hey, Zach. That's my brother.
And actually, this is a very interesting topic because I'm religious. I consider myself to be religious. I practice my religion, which is Islam, if you're curious. And I've always used the internet, and I've grew up with it. And for the past 3 months, I've tried to live off the internet, which has been kind of a challenge, to be honest, because it was really, like you said, there was no distinction between life and IRL, in quotes.
Yeah.
And I've actually had to rethink about the place of internet in my life because it was, like Paul said, it was kind of overtaking quote-unquote real life. And I would try to escape from real life by using Twitter and just randomly browsing and just to keep my mind occupied on stuff. And so, I don't think we should just dismiss what the ultra-Orthodox Jews were trying to do, because I do think it comes from an interesting place as how we're going to live with the ever-increasing place of internet in our lives. But it is kind of extreme the way they view it, which is kind of shun it away. I think that's how the Jews want to handle the internet, right?
How have you distanced yourself from internet use? I mean, in what ways have you stopped yourself from using the internet?
Well, I've installed a software which I could override easily if I wanted to, but I don't.
You're like,
have some self-restraint.
I installed software. I know the password. I can turn it off whenever I want.
Yeah, I do, but that's the thing is I haven't overridden it since I've installed it.
And what does it do?
It pretty much blocks. I'm sorry, what?
What does it do?
It blocks certain softwares after a certain time because so I don't spend my whole night on it, and
so it's like after
go
9
to sleep at 4 a.m. and wake up at 12, and
so
at least half my day because I was on Reddit all night.
So after 9 o'clock, it's like you can't go to Reddit, you can't go to Friendster or whatever the social network.
Well, I don't know what Friendster is, but YouTube,
darn,
right,
and Twitter, especially Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter you found very distracting.
Because even with, I felt like sites like Twitter, it feels like you're in contact with people and you're constantly interacting, but you're actually not interacting really. You're mostly just reading what other people are saying. You're not really in contact with them. It's like false contact.
Do you think that you could start using Twitter in the evening more to share Verge links, but only to share Verge links? Would that be possible? Just for our sake?
Sure.
Okay. Great.
Good.
Well, that's very interesting. That's a very interesting look. So I thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. And good luck with staying off.
Sure. Quick question.
Yes.
I don't know if I can.
Yes, go for it.
Did you? I forgot my question.
No. Did you really? Was it for Paul? Was it a question for Paul?
No, it was for Nilay, but I forgot. Oh, yeah. Is Nilay religious? Because he didn't say, because you're like, I'm atheist, and Paul was like, I'm Christian.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, Nilay, are you religious?
Some Hindu.
A smattering of Hindu?
By trade.
Yeah. That doesn't make any sense.
No, I mean, I would class myself as aggressively agnostic.
Agnostic?
Yeah, it's hard for me to ever say that any religion is, like, crazy, because I'm well aware that from the outside in, like, Hinduism is like bonkers.
They're all bonkers.
But,
No offense,
Hinduism
but
is
they're all
like,
bonkers.
I mean, it's polytheistic.
Well, they're all
You
insane.
know, like there's elephant, you know, like gods, like, you know, like that's great. I understand it. To me, and I was raised with it, and like it makes sense to me. But you know, like I'm getting married, and we are having a Hindu ceremony and a Christian ceremony, and like, you know, I grew up here, so the Christian ceremony is like everybody understands it. Here's this thing. Right. It's like our program for it is this long, and it's like these things will happen. And then the program for our Hindu ceremony is like 50 pages long because we have to explain all of these things that are going on. At one point, Becky was like, "So there's going to be curd in our wedding ceremony. Can you explain the purpose of the curd?"
Is that right?
Yeah, it's like yogurt. But to me, it just makes sense.
Yogurt good.
Right?
You know, the yogurt.
So
just
I would
for
say,
the yogurt portion of the wedding ceremony.
Right. But so for me to ever say this other religion is crazy is like,
Well, I don't think you don't have
I'm
to-
speaking from like a place.
You don't have to attack not just a specific religion. You could attack all religions.
Yeah, it's true.
Like
I could
me.
just go out there.
But
So yeah. So to me, you know, I would put myself in that, and I would actually.
You would say that you're a Hindu.
I would say I'm a Hindu, but like an aggressive, and I know
That's
actually.
interesting.
I know a lot of.
I hope you can actually write an article on that because you seem like you have an interesting experience on the matter.
I mean, I
would
was
like
like
to read an article too. You know
being
what?
raised as a Hindu in the middle of Wisconsin in the '80s is like definitely a strange experience.
I was raised Jewish.
Oh well, that should be a book.
That should be a book.
and then I chased all the blonde girls. Like that's my book.
That is terrible. And no, but you're marrying Becky is Catholic.
No, she's Christian.
Just
She's non-denominational.
Well, non-denominational.
Yeah, actually, gave her, I like teased her. I was like, pick one.
Protestant.
Come on, settle down.
Protestant.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah.
I don't. Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny because we got married by Justice of the Peace. My wife was raised Catholic, and I'm raised Jewish. And the Justice of the Peace, there was still, even though it was a state ceremony, there was still a few mentions of God in there, and we had her remove
Really?
all of the additional.
So you really
mentions
of
of
attack
God.
them all.
Yeah, and we also promised people like it's gonna be like a five.
Do you have her
5
like
ceremony.
working some disses for the other religions?
I was like, can you put some references to? Can you take out God but put a few references to Satan in here?
Losers.
Anyhow, Zach, thank you for calling in. We're going to take another call, but I appreciate you calling.
Cool.
Okay, caller, you're on the air. What's your name? And what is your take on the anti-internet rally?
My name is Jay.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
You sound great.
All right, yeah, I'm using Gmail. That's why
Well, if you want me to,
All right,
if you want me to get really specific, you do sound a little echoey.
Yeah.
Maybe get a little closer to the mic.
Put like a sheet over it.
Put
Okay.
a sheet over your computer
Go into the bathroom.
with your head inside of it. Go ahead.
I could sit in a box, maybe like a cardboard box. I'll just put it over my head.
That could be
Maybe
good.
that'll work.
That could
I mean, if you could
absorb some sound.
somehow
Okay.
send us an image of that as well.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
that would be great. So go on.
All right, so I don't think that the problem is the internet itself. I think it's mostly, I don't know if this has been said before, but I think it's mostly the way that people use it and how many people have used anonymity. And also by the group of Orthodox Jews who are protesting the internet against it, I think that by doing that, they're sort of like targeting, it's the wrong target. Like if they think there's a problem with it, I feel like they're trying to address the problem from the top down rather than from its source, which is the way people use it and abuse it. And I don't mean just like people being trolled and stuff, but also like people who can't manage their time.
No,
And who-
well, this is
Actually, can
I'm sorry, but
Both, everyone's all excited.
this is actually exactly what I was trying to say. So maybe you maybe I miswrote it, but I
Maybe
think
your
you might
article
have,
sucks.
I think you might have misread it because I think that's exactly what they were doing. They in no way attacked the establishments forcing the internet on them or the fact that the internet exists. They're completely accepting that they live in a modern time where the internet is increasingly going to be part of people's lives, especially in their work, as far as being required to use it and it's as a necessity. But they absolutely want to manage their use of it.
So what I think is a really interesting contrast to that is another story we were talking about this week, and I don't know if we ran it. I know we were discussing it, and in France this week, an anti-racism group in France. I don't remember the name because it's a French name, but they sued
racism.
Google. They sued Google because Google autocomplete in France often returns, if you type in a celebrity's name, the autocomplete suggests the word Jew after it, because apparently lots of people in France are curious who is Jewish and who is not. And the anti-racism group says that runs afoul of the French hate speech law that prevents databases of being collected of people's ethnicities. So they say it's racist, it runs afoul.
That sounds
and
right.
is-
That sounds right to me.
And that, well, that's fine, but to me that is the ultimate expression of you've built this technology. It's goes to the machine. It's just doing what's being fed into it. It's creating outcomes.
Just doing the algorithm.
And the people's behavior is really the problem.
Right.
What you need to do is the machine is just going to say these are the most common searches. If your problem is the common searches run afoul of some law or regulation, you need to tell the people who are driving the algorithms that their behavior has to change.
Well, I mean, that's
your real problem.
No, and that is an issue. Like, I think that when you start to censor results because your users are bad, if that's all it is, if it is a pure like you're just cranking on the numbers and that's what turns out to be the
that's Google's argument.
I mean, I think that's a problem. But it's true. It is you have to take personal responsibility. I mean, people have to take responsibility, but that is what this is about, isn't it?
Exactly.
I mean, the rally, in my opinion, from what I read and saw, is people saying like, look at yourself, look at your use, and do something about it. Especially, I mean, they're kind of like do something about it no matter what. But I think they're also saying like if you think there's a problem, especially. I don't know. Maybe that's. I mean, I don't think they're in regards to what the caller is saying. I don't think that they are trying to get like Comcast to stop like.
Right, but so here the flip side of that is in the world we actually do that all the time, and we're very confident in doing it. We say you can't build a strip club next to a school. Just don't do that here.
I think it should be opposite. You have to build a strip club next to a school.
No, but and we do it in all, every aspect. You can't buy a machine gun, right?
You can't build a mosque near ground zero.
Yeah.
Huh? Don't get me started on that one.
No, I mean that outrage is everywhere on the internet. That same exact thing, which is the dumbest regulation that's ever been suggested.
Now that I said that is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
What?
Yeah.
That idea.
What idea?
You can't build a mosque near ground zero.
Really? We're going to this?
It just sounds
we're digging up controversial topics from like 100 years ago?
Completely insane to me.
Okay, let's move on.
That's all. All right. Any caller? Any
before about the way that they sort of look at it is that it's like looking at the internet as an entity itself, I think, and even not just these people, but just in general, I think people look at the internet as like its own, as like a beast, like its own entity. So when you say like
self-perpetuating,
you met somebody who's from the internet, or like this picture from someone on the internet, but it's not just a person from this space, the internet. It's like it's a person from somewhere in the world, like a real human being.
Yeah.
But because it's like through the internet, it becomes this a kind of alternate universe, sort of, in a way. It's like the internet's like Earth 2 or something.
Right. No, I agree. I agree with that point that there is this kind of like the internet becomes this blur of like it's the internet, and it isn't the internet. It's humans. Like that's it. It's like the internet is created and was maintained by human beings.
And again, the ultra orthodox are attempting to remove themselves from secular humans all the time.
Right.
And so the internet is just an unfiltered access.
They're trying to remove themselves from the internet of life.
The internet of life.
All right.
Yes.
All right, caller. We got to move on.
We've got a lot of other stuff.
Do we actually have other topics?
We have lots.
We have a lot of other topics. We're not going to get to this call. If you were waiting on the line, I apologize. Sam's going to apologize.
I think it's so interesting that from day one, like when I announced I was leaving the internet, it's been kind of a lot about religion in a really weird way.
Well, you're also a religious guy.
I guess because I'm religious. Yeah. I don't know. It just seems to keep on coming up.
I mean, you got, I think your religion is going to be, it's going to be tied up in a lot of things that you do.
Yeah.
Because it's front and center.
I think that's the
You're
point.
like, hey, check me out. I love Jesus. Like everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Like, you walk into a restaurant, you're like, table for two, and by the way, I love Jesus. I just want you to know that. You're like, I need to rent.
It would have been funnier if
a car for the weekend. Oh, and also, I'm super into Jesus. I hope you're cool with that.
Yeah.
Click.
Yeah.
Why would you hang up before you got the car?
I don't know. Because you're angry.
And then you like call back. Oh, hey, this is the guy that loves Jesus.
Sorry about hanging up. I was just really excited about how into Jesus I am.
Oh my God.
All right, let's move on. Talk about
Go. Grab bag. I'll let you guys pick. We have Motorola, Google. We have Google winning its patent case.
Goracle.
And we have the Facebook IPO.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah,
so many great things to choose from.
And there's also a bunch of iPhone rumors.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's talk about Goracle. Let's talk about Google winning.
I read about this in the New York Times.
This one's actually
the Verge Times.
I can blast through this one pretty fast.
Go for it. Blast through it, please.
And what's happening is fantastically interesting in one sense and fantastically boring in another.
We won, right?
they won. So they beat all the patent claims, which were already very weak.
Anonymous owned this.
Yes.
Anonymous won.
The jury was apparently. We've known the entire time. Brian Bishop has been in the courtroom, and we've known the entire time that Google's lawyers are much more like vivacious and like friendly and funny. They're good lawyers. They connected with the jury. They really liked their attorneys. Oracle's lawyers were very like staid.
Mueller's.
And so the jury really took to Google, and they said, we understand. The foreman said in an interview, there was an underlying feeling that Google had done something wrong, but Oracle never showed us. They never gave us. I think they said, we're waiting for the steak, and all we ever got was the parsley. I think that was his quote.
That's what the foreman said?
That's pretty good. Check out the foreman. He should write something.
So,
like a common
so there's
thing.
that. So that they won the patent stuff. The one huge copyright claim, which is, do they steal the APIs from Java?
Thrown out.
No, it's just waiting. So the jury
and that's
was
going to have a different jury, right?
Yeah, the jury hung on that. They were like 9-3, and they couldn't decide. 9-3 in favor. No, that is the deal.
That's the bigger deal.
That's the case.
That's what you said. That's what would
question
change.
That will change everything.
Because the question about whether they infringe on patents is like almost a very common argument, right?
Yeah.
So
and the judge had whittled Oracle's patent arguments down to virtually nothing. So they had no chance.
The less
of winning.
common argument, and the one that's really important, is like, can you copyright
these APIs?
Can you copyright the API in the sense that it exists, the idea, or that would be the patent, right? So this is like how the API is done.
Yeah, it's imagine.
Can you copyright code? Is the question.
No, you can definitely copyright the code. The API is like you build the machine.
So confused.
You build the jury was confused. They asked a ton of questions
confused.
about it. So you build the machine. And you say, here's the inner workings of the machine.
Yep.
Oracle didn't say that's. Oracle said, that's fine, you built that. What you stole from us is this list of commands to the machine, right? Literally the API. You said, I say print, and then the machine does the printing,
right.
And you stole the word print
How you
from me.
interface with the...
Yeah, the application programming interface. That's the API, right?
Yeah.
And the question is, can you copyright that? Is that list of instructions?
It's almost like I know how to use a computer. I know how to get things out of the computer. Can you copyright the method of putting things
and
in?
that question is not decided.
Like, to use another metaphor, is it like I built an engine, and put it in a car, and can you copyright the thing that can, not the steering wheel, but the thing that connects the steering wheel to the engine? The steering column.
In a very But
you can definitely
I would like to point out that in this metaphor, you have built a car where the steering wheel is connected to the engine and not to the wheels.
Well, you know what I mean.
But I'm going to go with it.
That's not what I meant. Hold on. That's a good point. That is a good point. But the wheels are connected to the engine.
Yes.
Are they not? By an axle.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
So the axle.
Can you copyright the axle?
Sure. I mean, it's like if
here's things I don't know how they work. Cars. What was the other thing?
Bingo is a classic example.
Things I have no idea how they actually work inside. Cars and bingo.
The Java virtual machine.
Yeah, clearly the Java virtual machine.
JVM. You know what? You don't know what I know, but I'll tell you what I don't know. I don't know how cars work. I don't know when the football season starts, which I learned today.
Yeah.
When does it start?
September?
Yeah.
And what was the other thing? Bingo.
Yeah.
You know what? No one's perfect.
Anyway, so
just ask Jesus. Right, Paul?
He's with Paul.
I don't know. I don't know what that even means. Honestly.
Yeah, clearly.
Also, don't know much about Christianity.
I still gotta rent that car.
It's a religion.
I gotta call back. We should make a call.
Hello?
Can we call Hertz?
Hertz? It's me, Paul Miller.
Anyway, let's just wrap this
Click. Go on.
So the judge has to. I'm gonna. My guess is that, and I was talking to Matt McCary about this, our patent attorney, writes for us. My guess is the judge is going to say APIs aren't copyrightable and let Oracle appeal that
to the S court.
Yeah, and that is going to go all the way up. I mean, that question is deep. I mean, that cuts to the heart of computer science.
S court is what Samsung would call the Supreme Court.
And you know, that's actually one of my other topics is that S-Cloud is such a bald-faced ripoff of Siri.
Wow.
It is. You said the same thing today.
Didn't you guys say,
S-Voice.
Didn't you guys say that?
Did we run the thing?
We did. Sorry. The last thing I just want to say about this is Oracle now, because they've lost at every turn, and they're not going to get any money out of settlement out of Google now, they are going to be compelled to basically take that API copyrightability question to the Supreme Court.
Right.
And that will change.
And it'll be one of the
industry.
biggest cases
Yeah.
in the
I mean, that
history
will
of
just definitely
technology.
change the industry.
Neil, I called it.
And Nilay will be there every day at the Supreme Court.
That would be awesome. I'd love to do that.
okay.
I've been jealous
The
of Brian.
Supreme Court cases are a little faster.
Can I
right?
just say
They have like a day of argument. Yeah, it's not like there's no trial.
they're like,
There's
let's
no
just get
jury.
this thing over with.
Yeah.
We got to get back to lounging around.
Do you know
in
actually
our
the Supreme
yachts.
Court?
Cigars.
Yeah.
The attorneys who argue in front of the Supreme Court, they face a bank of lights that literally turn green and red when they're supposed to go and stop.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's
That
ridiculous.
is
Is there a
truly
yellow light?
that truly sounds like something from like Futurama. Like it's not in any way real or
Yeah.
serious.
Right.
I just want to say one thing. You know,
And the justices get pissed if you talk over.
Oh,
the
I'm
lights.
sure.
They have like
Yeah.
They get mad.
they don't have time. They got to get back to their
That's what
yachts and their
we
martinis.
We need red and green lights.
We do like on the show.
Yeah, for
You
us.
just got to like.
Creighton's been trying to flash the light at us this whole time.
You need to get a red and green program.
Why didn't
for
you
your
think of that,
iPad.
Creighton, this whole time? Why didn't you think
Yeah,
about
nice
red and
going.
green lights?
Smooth move. The one thing I want to say is that since Nilay made his faux pas of calling Google Oracle Goracle.
Oh, everyone. Google has said it called the case Goracle.
They've called it
to me.
Goracle?
Yeah.
Well,
Wait, that was just a faux pas?
yeah, that wasn't on purpose.
Yeah,
he
I
like
just messed up.
stumbled.
I thought that was the way to call.
No,
he's-
it's not like Brangelina.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought it was.
Well, it became Brangelina.
I love it.
when
So
you
that
said
was
Goracle.
you?
No, but
I'm
so
so proud.
in our IRC, you know, we use IRC for our daily communications.
And we have a room called
We've
Goracle.
had a room for the last month called Goracle. And it's always like Brian, because Brian's been at the
He's there,
He's
yeah.
there, and it's like Brian. Like sometimes his name is like Brian_Goracle. It's like Brian Goracle's back. And like, what's going on in the Goracle room? And I'll pop into Goracle, and it's like him and Matt just like
oh, they're
nerding
freaking
out.
out.
They're
Yeah.
like, the jury is blah, blah. And I'm like, I gotta go. Catch you later, dudes. Oh, you giving us a red? Why
I
don't
like
you
it.
just use a thicker brush?
Wait, what is this? So wait. We're supposed to stop talking. Stop talking. Oh, no,
Okay,
we're
we
talking.
sorry.
There we
That's
go.
pretty good.
If only you guys could see that.
I know.
That would have been great.
You could put it on the screen here. Maybe get some newfangled program to do that. All right, what's next on our list?
Motorola and Google, Facebook IPO, or
Google.
S-Voice.
What did
Pick
Motorola
one.
and Google do?
They
They're-
are finally
They are together.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. That
And,
took a while.
And nothing. That's it. That's all we know. And there's separation of church and state.
Well,
They're
no.
not-
So a couple of things have come out. So they installed a new CEO who
Yes.
was
They installed
formerly
him,
like Google's world traveling head of sales.
CEO 4.0
Yeah.
ice cream sandwich.
I mean, you know, he said my job is to make Motorola profitable and successful as an Android licensee. I know what that means.
Here's what I hope.
And then Eric Schmidt today said Motorola will have more investment in products and a lot more focus on Android and the tools even than they have today. Which is an amazing thing to say because all they do is make Android.
Here's what I
Android
hope
phones.
will happen.
Yeah.
I hope that Motorola. I don't care if Motorola coordinates with Google on their phones. I hope that Motorola, like the new CEO, goes, man, you know what I don't think we need anymore? To skin Android.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Motorola makes some pretty nice Android phones, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're not all perfect, but I think they've made some really good ones. And I think they could make even better ones in the future if they would just stop trying to skin them.
It's not like there's a rule just because they're a third party they have
They have to skin it.
Well,
right.
no, actually, I think there's a lot of pressure from Verizon that the Droid line needs to be skinned. I think
Shut up, Verizon.
Well, I mean,
Shut up.
I think this is actually going to be Motorola didn't have a lot of leverage against Verizon before. They're Motorola. They don't have a lot of leverage anywhere. And I think now that they will because Google is literally supplying the software to all the other vendors that Verizon and other carriers depend on. And I think that to me is like, you know, we know that basically the carriers order the phones, right?
Yep.
It's not like HTC is like, we got this phone, we're going to sell it on AT&T's network. AT&T is
their-
like, what do you got?
their spec.
Here's our specification, what we want. And the question is, maybe Motorola can say, here's what we're going to build and what we're going to give you, and it'd be the bleeding edge of the platform.
Yeah.
But there's still that element of Verizon being like, well, sucks for you.
Well, you know, maybe when LTE,
Especially because Verizon's network is closed.
well,
right?
there was a story. You know, there was that story in the Wall Street Journal that Google was going to start selling more Nexus devices on Play.
Right.
They obviously can't. We had this big conversation about this. They can't sell Verizon devices.
Yeah. I mean, they're basically, they can
Wait,
sell
so has
AT&T.
anything happened with that rumor?
Nope.
Not yet.
Well, I just wonder,
I think all that will happen at I/O.
I agree that I/O is going to be the plan. I don't think they're going to a week before I/O, we decided we'd make a huge announcement.
Well, for me, like a
know.
best case scenario with Motorola is that like if Google like has had this process of just like picking favorites.
Yeah.
Like HTC, you're our best friend right now, and
Yeah.
then Motorola, you're our best friend. Samsung, so like they jump around, right? But now that they've got a third party in house, I could see them having this like desire to like. Maybe we should be really fair to everybody. You know, like all of a sudden
they said they're going to
because
do that.
If they
Again, did you see this story?
No, I didn't.
No, in the Wall
Google's
Street
going to
Journal?
partner with far more Nexus manufacturers. Like the
Well,
next,
isn't that
next
part
round will
of,
be
isn't
five.
that isn't that part of the story that basically like each
Yeah.
major partner will like have a device that's like the stock Nexus device,
right? Because the fear is
for
that they will, I mean, I think they're getting a lot of. I kind of know that they're getting a lot of pushback from their OEM partners.
But doesn't but,
Well,
don't-
right,
but,
well,
but
so
do they really care? Like, I mean, is the Galaxy Nexus really cutting into HTC and to not to Samsung, but to LG and to Motorola? I mean,
At some point,
I don't
Google
think it is.
can't keep delivering the best phone.
I've
every
seen
year.
literally like I think one Galaxy Nexus in public.
I've
ever.
seen a few.
You have? My impression is that hardly anybody.
you know what I see everywhere? White razors.
I see a lot of Razors.
Yeah, ton
I
of
also
them.
see a lot
Really?
of iPhones. A lot of iPhones.
So many iPhones.
I see iPhones everywhere.
Yeah.
I do see Android phones though as well.
Yeah.
I was out yesterday and somebody asked me, what when the next iPhone is coming out? And I was like, well, I would assume not for a while, but WWDC is coming up, and I bet they announced iOS 6, and right around then is I/O, and they're going to announce the next version of Android. And the dude just looked at me and goes, I don't care about Android. It was like heartbreaking. I was
What
like,
are you gonna
that's my whole job.
I mean, honestly, I'll say this. I thought that when they finally released the iPhone for Verizon, I was like, it's the end because it could be the end of Android. I think I remember us talking about it on the podcast. I'm like, could be dark days ahead. Mm-hmm. But it didn't happen.
Well,
It definitely hurt.
What are the
but,
numbers?
Android's still way ahead, but in the low end,
well, not way ahead.
well, they have
they're
the
ahead a
market
bit.
share.
Of course, they have to make like 5,000 more phones.
And
to
I
do
think
that.
the other really interesting thing about Motorola is what is Google going to do with the cable box part of it. There's
Google-
the phones, right? Which
Google TV. Comcast, Google TV.
I know for a fact that the cable companies do not want Google TV near their cable boxes, and they have said,
Is it because it works badly?
yeah, well, and also because it brings in other kinds of content,
Right.
and they don't want that to happen.
Kiddie porn.
They want to keep that pipe. It's just Reddit/kiddie porn the whole time.
The whole thing just opens up to Reddit. The kiddie porn.
No, they
section
don't
of
want
Reddit.
that. Actually, and we had Nathan Ingram was at the cable show in Boston this week, which was, and one of his pieces was the industry keeps talking about how they're going to embrace the future. Well, they keep on trying to lock down literally the channels of communication so they can control it.
Right.
And they keep saying things like, well, people really love their cable subscriptions of like multiple tiers of like channels. And it's like, no, they don't. That's just the only thing you sell. You can't be like, that's our best selling package when you're like, you don't just sell ESPN. Like you literally don't know what you're talking
What
about.
would that be like?
I don't know.
Well,
But
I mean,
people have been wanting
we
that for decades.
I think we talked about this. Barry Diller had an interview in New York Magazine. Maybe we didn't, but Barry Diller, who is one of the people behind Aereo.
Yeah, well, he runs IAC and then
He runs
Areas,
IAC, but he's not the only party. But anyhow, he was just saying, like in his interview, which is fascinating. If you haven't read it, you should go to NewYorkMagazine.com and read it.
Mm-hmm.
But he says. He's like, I don't get ESPN, and I feel like I subsidize it, and I feel like everybody else subsidizes it too, and I'd like to have a model where I don't subsidize ESPN.
Yeah.
And I would too, and I think that people who do want ESPN will pay more for ESPN.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people, if they could just get ESPN, they would pay $30 a month.
Right, like I won't.
Right.
I don't want to pay for it at all, but yeah, I have like 600 channels that I don't care about.
Right.
And I would pay a lot for the channels that I do care about.
I've avoided
within
getting
reason.
cable for a long time, and now that I'm watching a little more TV. I don't have TV at my home, but like at a coffee shop, I pay a little more attention to TV.
If he got rid of Noun, he'd have to replace it with another Noun.
Nice
Mr. Internet Rally?
Nice reference.
Yeah.
No, but I think one of the big reasons is you can't just get what you want. I hate the idea of paying
where
for
you
things
can't
that
get what
I'm
you
not
want?
getting.
On demand on the internet.
Right. And and cable boxes are stupid. Actually, I think that the reason that people are frustrated with television is because the providers are lazy, right? Because they have monopolies in all of their markets. But it's like if they would just open up, if they would be like, we'll have the monopoly on the service, that's great. And then you can plug in whatever kind of cable box you want, and we'll sell you whatever you want. No one would ever complain about cable television.
Yeah.
Right? If Apple could build a real cable box that just plugged into a service, the same way they build an iPad that just plugs into the internet, I think people would be like, oh, that's great. But it's funny that they don't see it that way. They want to control this end-to-end experience, and they're bad at building the consumer end of it.
Right.
They're terrible at building that.
They're awful.
We lived
Awful.
through a time like that with phones.
Right.
You know, like every phone was always a rebadged, or
Right.
almost all of them.
And I'm
were
not saying, and I'm
rebadged.
not saying just Apple. And like, if 50 companies could build cable boxes and compete in that market, the way they compete in laptops, the way they compete in tablets, the way they compete in phones, like we'd be like, oh, that's great. I can just plug this into my cable. I get all my channels. I can stream all the shit.
Right.
It's just bizarre to me that
What?
like the thing,
That's fine.
the thing that we, I mean, television has like been defining our culture for like 50, 60
it's
years. Like,
time.
we're so obsessed with television.
It's
Everybody
time.
apparently keeps on watching more and more hours of television on hours, like 4 hours a day on average or something like that.
Right.
And
But only because of DVRs.
It's so it's such horrible technology. The
technology is terrible.
It's just so gross. I mean, think about cars always get better.
Well,
Cars get,
incrementally.
I mean, very slowly.
Very slowly.
Yeah.
Innovation
it's
is
just weird.
Innovation.
I mean,
is
if you look
risky
at
and expensive.
Comcast and Verizon both previewed like new interfaces, and they're all proud of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, you shouldn't be proud
Look,
of that.
if you let me explain something to you. Let's say you sell heroin. Okay.
And it's connected to an engine.
Come on, heroin. Where are we going to go today?
and you're the only heroin dealer in your neighborhood.
Right.
And everybody's got to come to you to get their heroin.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what the quality of your heroin is.
Right.
Okay?
I like that you picked heroin.
Well, because we're addicted to TV just like we're addicted to the internet.
Right.
Just like we're addicted to heroin.
Just like we're addicted to heroin. No, but I mean, the fact is like Comcast and Time Warner, like it's so good for them. So good. They're like, guess what? I mean, literally, Time Warner's like, guess what? Where you live, no one else can get cable TV into your house but us. No one.
Right.
And so we can give you we can shovel whatever crap we want. Like we cut this with so much baby powder, you will not even get remotely high.
Yeah.
We're getting like
Okay.
a deep taste of Josh's DJ days right now.
This baby powder
This is
stuff.
Josh like passed out on the floor of a bathroom of a club in like
OD,
Finland.
OD on baby powder.
No,
but you understand what I'm saying?
It's a good analogy. Because at some point, you put so much baby powder in there,
Yeah.
people stop getting high,
Start getting sick.
and then they're not addicted to it anymore.
Well, I don't think it works like
no,
that.
you slowly.
They're like, now I'm gonna try.
It's not, no, it's not that they're not addicted to it anymore. They go find another dealer, and maybe that guy is only selling crystal meth, but they're like,
No,
you
no,
know
no,
what?
but
At
like
this
you
point,
said-
I'll take pure crystal meth over
Right.
this cut
No,
heroin.
But like you said, they've got the dealer has a monopoly.
That's Hulu, by the way, is
I
crystal
think,
meth.
I think this is what's happening.
they're also
Hulu's
getting,
owned.
No, I
Yeah.
know they're getting a little cut. They're part of the food chain.
I think this is what's happening to Generation Twitter.
no,
Is that-
don't
yes,
use
yes,
that
Generation
phrase.
Twitter.
Why would you do that?
What's
to me?
happening is
I like it.
is that they're
I brought a bunch of our
the
memes
TV
in there.
dealer is not like providing enough to get them high, and so they're going to the internet and
That's right.
watching TV on the internet.
That's right.
And I think my generation is going to less and less
Generation
have,
Twitter.
Generation Twitter is going to less and less have cable. They're going to less and less have even TVs.
Yeah.
And they're more and more going to watch
But
TV.
there's
on
just
their
one.
computers
There's just
over
one
the internet.
problem.
HBO.
No. The heroin dealer also owns all the gas stations. So in order for you to drive your car over to the other parts of town to get the heroin elsewhere or the crystal meth,
The crystal meth.
you got to
'Cause
go to their gas station
Yeah.
Right.
and fill up your tank with their gas. So kind of a
it's
problem.
Like, oh, weird. We can only fill your tank with enough gas to get to the outer
Get-
edges of our neighborhood.
to get to where our heroin dealers are. Sorry
Yeah, this is
about
really
that.
good.
Anyhow,
I don't know if really good is the right phrase.
no, but it is the thing. I mean, like
Yeah.
we these companies have, I mean, they have monopolies, and they have the illusion of not having a monopoly because there's like four of them.
You know, and this not to try to forcibly tie this all together.
Please
but this
do.
is what I'm saying.
Go,
like,
go.
if you allow the internet,
If you allow
this thing-
APIs to be copyrighted,
yeah, I can't do that. I'll try. Give me 10 minutes on that one.
if a steering wheel is connected to an
no,
engine,
if you allow this
I'm trying
entire
to rent a
market
car.
to be completely unregulated the entire time,
what?
if you allow the market of the internet to be totally unregulated the whole time,
As it should be.
you are going to end up with large companies that control things. I mean, that's the state of unregulated markets with scarce resources, right? And we've done it over and over and over
unregulated
again.
markets, yes.
Right? It's like the phone company was the same way. The steel industry was the
Housing
same
crisis,
way. I don't know about that one, but it sounds good.
stock market,
Yeah, the stock market is all owned by one company,
all owned by Dow Jones.
and no one cares about the Nasdaq.
Mr.
That's like-
Jones.
you want to
By Mr. Dow, Mr. Jones. And
Dow
Mr.
and Jones,
Mr. Nasdaq.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's like that's a thing, right? It's okay, fine. Like we built this thing, we let it be free for this long, and like here are the outcomes. And the outcomes are huge companies own massive amounts of like communication power, and we're kind
Which
of
is why
unhappy
we
about
need
it
to
all the time.
socialize
By
our
the way,
networks.
Nilay, you'd probably be very happy to hear that I have actually purchased a copy of Master Switch.
Oh, really?
So I
Oh,
still
good.
haven't
You're
read
getting
it,
closer.
but I'm definitely circling it after like 2 or 3
I
years
can't.
of
You
you
know, I
encouraging
know.
me to
I
read
think
this.
Chad and I are the ones who are always yelling at everybody to read the Master
And
Switch.
Thomas too.
Yeah,
that
and
the-
it's really Tim Wu. It's
Is
really
that-
good.
Will it freak me out?
It'll freak you out. I mean,
That's
it's like a history book more than a.
That's the
More
book
than
about
like
how
a
Obama's
polemic.
going to make an internet kill switch, right?
Yes, exactly. That's all it is. It's just pictures of Obama.
Obama with his hand on a lever.
It's like figure one.
Huh? Like,
Figure two.
do you dare me to throw this lever? Go ahead.
Double dog dairy.
Yeah.
No, I mean again, can't recommend it enough.
All right. What else? We gotta wrap.
We should
up
wrap
here.
this up. We should talk about Facebook.
We were going to be on.
You want to
I was
do
like-
Facebook or the iPhone rumors?
I'd rather do
rumors.
iPhone rumors.
I think
Yeah.
everyone.
We haven't
already-
talked about iPhone rumors
Everybody
in a
knows
while.
about the Facebook IPO.
All right. So
Yeah.
the current iPhone rumor is it's going to get a longer screen.
1132.
It's going to get a longer screen. Here's all I care about. If you make a phone that looks like the iPhone 4S, I definitely will not buy it.
Who is you? being
I don't
out?
care.
36
I don't care
by
how much
64.
faster it is. I don't care how good the camera is.
What if it's
I don't
for
care.
SS?
I don't care how thin it is. I don't care what cool new apps you have or what iOS 6 looks like. If it has the metal antenna band around
What if
it
Siri comes out of beta?
and the glass front
won't
and the
happen.
glass back, if it's the same design that's like a little bit
Right.
longer and a little bit thinner, I don't care.
I don't think they're going to do that.
I'm definitely not buying it.
I think
This doesn't
they
matter.
know.
I don't care. I'm done with that. I'm sick
I
of
want
looking.
the
I'm sick
unibody.
of sitting in a room full of people with the exact same phone. I don't want to be that person. I'm not going to be that person.
I thought you have the.
No, I'm not that person. You guys see my
Look at
back?
that. Look at that
You see
back.
that stuff?
I'm really hoping for a metal unibody, even though that would be horrible for reception.
No, I think what is happening.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Did you like that?
Yeah, that was good.
Why?
You know what? Sometimes you just have to say to yourself,
All right. Are we done, Peyton? Is that it? Is that the podcast?
a long week.
And then yourself is in like response. All right, let's do this thing with the phone.
Yeah, let's do this thing with the phone. It's late. It's been a long week.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to keep talking about the iPhone rumors?
Yes, please do.
Longer screen.
1132. This is they're 1136.
So
What is
11:36.
So these numbers keep
that's a
changing
ratio.
here and
Gruber,
there.
Gruber,
11
no, but
colon 36.
But so a 9 to 5 Mac reported on this, and they said it's going to be 1130.
What's
1,136
It's going to be
pixels
640 by
Pixels.
1136.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And so here's the thing,
Because the old rumor is like 1152.
which according to
Idiot.
Gruber, he did a little bit of math, and
Yeah.
it makes a lot more sense as 1136. I think this makes sense. It would be a 16:9, exactly a 16:9
Yeah.
ratio if it were 1136 by 640. I think this makes a lot of sense for a number of reasons, not the least of which that the screen has never been like a 16:9 ratio. And like movies look weird on it, and you can like zoom them up, and they look weird. And but beyond that, I think this paves the way for something, and I'm not sure what it is. But I don't think they're just going to go. We added an extra row of icons,
No,
because that's what it kind of amounts to when you think about it, right? Going from 960, no, is it 960
960.
to 1136? That's an additional how many pixels?
A lot. Here, I'll tell
It's not that many.
I bet
like
somebody in our
somebody should just know this.
Less than 200.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's like 168,
124.
29.
this.
No.
172.
72. I was pretty close. I said 168.
Yeah.
24.
Yeah, where were you? You were way out there. 176.
What?
No.
Craig
I
Sean.
keep on doing 1132.
See, I did
That's
the
what-
opposite.
1136.
124. What? It's
Is 176?
176.
How tall?
know, I insist that
The
it's
average
132.
icon is 90. Or the regular icon is 96 pixels tall. Is that right? Can anybody confirm this? Can I get a confirmation? Is that right? John's saying it is.
96.
The icon on the iPhone 4 is 96
Why would they
pixels.
do another row of icons?
No, but I'm saying
And
like
that's how they're saying that there's all these ways to use
I'm
the
saying
extra
when you think
space.
when you
Why
think
don't you
about
and the most prosaic
Is it-
one is to do another row.
Just
of
like a home
icons.
button, like a virtual
There's
home button.
no way they will ever do a
What?
virtual home button.
114,
Idiots.
that doesn't sound right to me.
They're all saying 114.
All right, 114 then.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Well, I mean, okay,
There's
so
no way. I will tell you this.
no, but I'm saying, but
I have a Galaxy Nexus 2.
Yes.
And I accidentally hit the home button in apps all the time.
So you don't
all
want
the
the
time.
virtual home button.
No.
Well, so what you could have like permanent.
I don't have it. I once in a
controls?
while I do it. It's not that big. of a
Or
deal.
like widgets.
I find it.
I don't think they're getting rid of the home
tremendous.
button. I actually don't think they're getting rid of the home button. I think they could do something with the home button that extends its functionality.
What if it's a dedicated Siri button? So you got the home button, and then up above it's a dedicated.
What if there
And
was
it's just a series of question marks.
What if there was like a
I just
knob-
like Siri
You're like-
just works so
No,
poorly.
you were just like.
What if there was like a lever, like the Obama lever for
And this one
killing the
turns off the
internet?
internet.
It's like on the side of it, and you can. That's how you can turn on Siri.
Yeah.
Turn on Siri.
No, so I think and then Gruber had a bunch of speculation about how they'll roll it out, and I think he's pretty on the ball. I mean, I think they'll roll out iOS 6 at WWDC.
without the
I think
resolution bump.
No, but I think that the APIs will allow developers to prepare for it. I think it's
Well,
it'll be
maybe,
very
but that would be
obvious.
them admitting that they're going to do a larger screen, which they've never done before. I mean, when they rolled out they won't do that. I don't think they're going to do that. Otherwise, they have to admit that they're doing a phone with a larger screen. And
I don't think they have to do anything. I think they can just say like Gruber's
hey,
Gruber's
just
theory was
no big deal,
We'll
but just-
rework the notifications so that they don't fold down and cover; they slide down, and that's like a totally like make your content area that much resizable. And then when it comes out, it's like go in the other
Did you ever
direction.
notice how iOS notifications are still super intrusive?
Yeah.
Like completely intrusive.
Email.
Like go away. It keeps coming down.
I've turned off all of, and you've done this too, right, Creighton? You've turned off all of your email notifications.
Yeah. It's useless. And they wake your screen up when
Yeah,
it's
so
sleeping.
I
Like, hey,
calculated.
thanks.
So I get on the order of 100 and 150 emails a day just to my Verge account, and that means that my screen.
all fan mail, by the way.
Yeah,
it's all like Nilay. You're so
it's all
great.
Josh, just swear words,
Nilay, you're so great.
question marks, and swear
From
words.
Josh.
And the math there is like the screen is just on for an extra 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Like just depending on how many emails.
While
I'm
you're
like-
getting like data downloads.
Yeah, and it's like,
great.
dude, stop it. Like, that's destroying my battery.
But look, so
Just give
the
me an
thing is,
LED.
I don't see how they can. I don't see how that works at all. I mean, you can't. You're not going to give the resolution. You're going to say you're going to add functionality.
Right, you're going to say, we're going to rework the notifications. Right now, the apps already scale when you're on a call or whatever. So you can say, we're going to add that notifications to that top thing. We'll make the content area smaller. So get to work on resizing this content area because of this. And
Yeah,
then
but you would
when they
need to
do the
resize the
phone, they can
content
say,
area.
you've already done the work to
Psych.
resize it. Now just make it bigger.
I feel like there's got to be something else.
Because it's still got, they've still got to sell the 4S and the 4.
I just
probably.
feel like- but I think
there's a
that-
rumor they're going to sell the 3GS in developing countries for like $200.
Well, the question is, do they just?
So the apps have to work. I mean,
Do
they have
they?
to be
But
flexible.
yeah, that's the question: is do they just? Are they using that space for something else, or are they now saying like you can use the space for your apps?
I
Like,
think Apple will definitely find a creative use for it other than we made a bigger screen.
I hope.
I like it to be better.
But I think apps will have to.
Multitask.
I think the standard for apps, and I'm just guessing. I think the standard for apps will be we intelligently resize the content area for the screens, and then some apps, just like they do on the 4S, will say we have additional features that make use of the screen.
What
I
is,
think that makes a lot of sense.
what's on your list for things you'd like to see in iOS?
I just
6.
I
And,
just don't like that double tap to pull up the bar. I mean, I really like it on the using multiple fingers on the iPad to multitask, but I never like double tapping my home button. It's
I
pretty
feel like
unnatural
I
thing
feel like
to
one of
do.
my big turnoffs on iOS, besides all of the missing functionality that I like, is the just very roundabout ways of doing things that feel like overly complex. That's one, I think. You know, where you've got a double tap, and then if you want to, tweak your sound or your brightness, you slide to the left, and it's like, why am I like tapping and then sliding and then tapping again to get out of it? It feels like a lot of, I've talked about this before, but getting to settings in apps this seems really crazy to me.
Settings.
Like the way it's like, I want to clear my cache in Safari. Well, I'll leave Safari. I'll open settings. I'll find Safari. I'll go into the clear the cache. I'll click that. I'll click back. I'll click back into Safari. Now my cache is cleared. It's like, why? How about just a settings button in Safari? Settings, clear cache, back to Safari. Isn't that wonderful? Which is how Android does it.
I think apps have a lot of limitations in iOS still.
Yeah,
I think
I just feel like there's like I honestly would love to see them try to something a little bit different, like look and feel wise, like to kind of do a revamp of.
I think that's definitely coming.
You think so? I don't know, man. I
Not like a whole hog.
I feel like people love iOS so much and are so familiar with it that Apple's not going to do anything to rock the boat. I think they're going to keep it pretty safe.
No,
like, look at OS 10 from
OS 10 has changed radically, right?
No, I wouldn't say radically.
From it's iterative, so every one is small.
But if you look at
the
Aqua,
timeline,
if you look at the very first version to now, yes. But I think that there's a point over the last 5 versions or so, 4 versions that have been pretty not 5, 4 versions.
I think they've been honing in, but I don't. Like the Lion. The open close boxes in Windows and Lion are just needlessly changed. Right?
Mountain Lion seems like a more complete.
This is Mountain Lion, by the way. Ooh. I left my laptop in a friend's car yesterday, so this is the review unit of Mountain Lion that they gave us. It's fine.
I didn't know you hadn't sent that back.
They told me to keep it because they keep on doing updates.
Oh, do you have the new version?
Yeah.
You can't talk about it. Can you?
It's a version.
How is it?
It's fine.
Where's the out of 10? Score out of 10.
Where's the notifications bar?
There it is.
How do you bring that open?
I like the notification.
You do a thing. I don't know how to do it.
I actually like it too, and in fact, I like the idea a little bit more than Growl, because Growl's always it's very intrusive.
Covering up your screen.
It's very intrusive, especially when I get like a bunch of tweets at once, and it's like
I just think and maybe iOS needs to be better at moving between things, especially as it becomes because I'm using it a lot on my iPad.
Yeah,
I use my iPad now enough that when I go back to a laptop, I accidentally touch the screen a couple times to try to scroll.
What's happening?
Yeah,
here's my dream.
But I want to be able to jump back and forth between things more easily.
Thirds. Thirds is my dream.
It'd be so great.
For the iPad, my dream is give me a third to put a Twitter window in or a mail window.
Give me box.
I'll tell you what. Don't do widgets. Give me the opportunity to give app developers the opportunity to do your micro app in the side of the screen. So I can open the weather. Even if you could, what would be great is if you had you could do thirds and then you could launch things in the third, just the third versions of apps. So you could launch your email in a third, and you could launch Twitter in a third. You could launch, iChat.
It's a computer and it's full of data. And where you're working with data, sometimes you need to reference other data.
No, you just be in one place.
So if you have all your data in a device, and you could only look at one set of it at a time, it's very frustrating.
I'll say this, sometimes I'll pull the iPad out and do a little bit of productivity with it. Email, go into IRC, maybe work on a text document. And it is I feel like I'm just doing this weird thing where I keep moving in and out of things, and it just feels very unnatural. There's no fluidity.
Even when you can swipe between apps, the way they hold apps, it doesn't load right away.
Right. That's really weird.
And the fluidity of it is I'll say this for Windows 8, that idea of sliding those apps and locking one over here, it feels like I'm in the same space. Those apps are now active in the same space that I'm working in, not I'm in one, I'm in another. It's I know that Apple added multitasking, but it still has never felt like
and
a
actually,
continuous.
There's the 4-finger swipe to go between apps, which is fine. But the normal way to do it is to push the button and it goes away, right? Zooms away.
You mean when you go back to the home screen?
Yeah, it's now I'm in a different
default behavior is a close everything.
Yeah. And it feels that way, even if it's the effect is that you're not actually
what if
doing
you
that,
had only one mouse button on your computer and it just made all your windows disappear?
pretty soon. That's what it's going to be, man.
Yeah.
You joke, but it's no laughing matter.
That's true.
Is that a 13 or an 11 inch?
13.
Yeah, the Air is so tiny.
Yeah.
It's so great. We
Kyle,
done?
one of our producers
Wrapping
on
up?
the Fox Media side, has an 11, and I'm jealous of it every time I see
You're
it.
Kyle?
Yeah, my buddy Kyle. my
All right, we got to wrap
hetero
up.
life
Any other
partner, Kyle.
news to talk about? Should we take a call? Let's take a call. Let's take 2 more calls. Predictions for iOS 6.
Yeah, what do you want to see?
Be quick. Be quick about it. We're going to take a caller number 888 888
418
888
418
888
418
418 4074. Call in. Somebody right now is going 888 418 4074. Call in. I want to hear what you want to see or what you hope we'll see in iOS 6 and in the new iPhone and or in the new iPhone. And you better be quick about it, and it better be great. And if it's not great, we'll ridicule you and we'll put your personal information on the Verge on the front page and have people call you.
I mean, is this useful?
What?
Notification center.
Nope.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We got something? We got. This is gonna be exciting. I'm excited. This has been a long week. Oh, so while we're sitting here, tomorrow night I'm on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bill Hader from Saturday Night Live.
Huh.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I don't know this for sure. What line? I don't know this for sure, but there may be a competition.
Ooh.
Ooh, maybe a competition.
With
They hung up.
Kareem.
They were like, "Oh, it's gonna be on Fallon."
Like a dunk competition.
With Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
888-418-4074. Tell us what you want to see in iOS 6.
Because I have an inkling as to what this competition will be, and I will say that if you get Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to do
That would
this
be
with you,
pretty
it would be
amazing.
amazing.
We'll see.
Shoot free throws.
It's not. I may not be what you're thinking.
Oh. Well, okay. If it's what I'm thinking, then
I don't know what you're thinking.
look, any competition between
we
you
gotta
and
call
Kareem
her.
Abdul-Jabbar will be amazing.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and I have a slam dunk contest. Hold on. Caller, you're on the air. What do you want to see in iOS 6? And what is your name?
Hi guys, my name's Randy. I actually don't think they're going to change anything.
You're just like, screw it.
Come on, man.
Sometimes you got to say self.
You don't really think that, do you?
What do you mean? They're just going to change the version number?
You think they're just
Did
going to
you
be
just
like,
hang
hey,
up?
Hello?
Randy.
Randy?
Yeah,
Randy, you think they're just going to be like, hey, we're doing iOS 6. Catch you guys next year.
I don't think they're not. I don't think they're going to do anything in regards to like changing the grid icons or anything like that. I think since it works right now, they're going to be too afraid to kind of change it around. So, if anything, they might add new features and they might add another grid if they're going to make a bigger screen. I'm sorry, another, like more icons, but if they make a bigger screen. But I don't think really, like they really can't. Apple just can't do it, in my opinion.
That's
Wait. They can't, is in
like
the forces of the market will prevent
the
them,
market won't let them,
or they're just out of ideas. Like they're at a whiteboard being like,
They're like, we did it. Johnny Ive is like,
Question mark.
because he doesn't do UI design, but Scott Forstall's
Yeah.
like, all right, guys, what's up for iOS 6? You know what?
I'm
Wait,
so
honestly-
rich, I don't have to worry about this.
guys, did we figure out the copy and paste thing?
Did we do How about, we should do better notifications?
They're mediocre, but they're there.
You know what we should do? We should integrate Twitter. Wait a second. Look, guys, there's an Applebee's down the street. You want to just call it a day?
Let's take our Maseratis to Applebee's.
So you're saying no updates for iOS 6?
I'm saying they're not going to change much. They really can't, unfortunately.
Really?
Wait, you didn't? Is it because they are prevented by the market, or they're out of ideas?
Yeah, is it because they're out of ideas, or because you think that people are just too
No,
familiar with it?
I don't think they're out of ideas. I think look at all the stuff that's in Android. So, they could probably lift some stuff from Android, if anything. But I think the market, I think you're right. I think the market just won't, unfortunately. It's been out for what, 5 years now? If they do a dramatic change, it's going to be tough for them market-wise. Yeah.
You don't think people would just freak out over a new Apple product? I feel like the dramatic change is like what like the hardware change.
Like,
right?
I feel like
They
Apple
should
could do. I
change
feel
the
like they could
UI
do-
to the Apple TV
I think they
UI.
could do any crazy. They could do any crazy thing. Like they could.
That,
turn,
by the way, is proof that Apple doesn't know. They can't do it.
I feel like they could. I feel like they could make like just crazy, like sparkly transitions between screens, and people be like, "This is crazy." Like it's super
Like
innovative.
a glitter dissolve.
Yeah, like a glitter dissolve, but like make it look really good.
Right.
Like, let's look at the worst Android skins we can find.
I'm just saying.
Let's lift that
All
glitter
All
dissolve.
right. Hey, thank you for calling in. That's an interesting take. We got another caller here. Thanks, caller, for calling. Yes, you're on the air. What will be in iOS 6 or what will not be in iOS 6? Tell us your dreams or nightmares. Hello?
Well, my name is Andrew. I think that they'll have notification or better notifications and like killer translation with Siri.
Give me an example of better notifications.
I don't know. I think they would just like almost like sort of like a small app put in, not like a widget sort of, but like a, I don't know, more interfaceable, so you don't have to go into the app to interact.
Oh,
So
so
you
this
can,
is
like,
like a very popular jailbreak.
I've heard
thing.
this is you, so you could like throw out a email or
like you get a text message and you can reply in line.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I mean this is one of the most popular.
I've
Sorry,
wanted
but that's
that in Growl
actually
forever.
didn't WebOS do that?
A little bit.
I thought WebOS did
That's
it in
true.
the last
Yeah,
version
yeah.
where you could get a text message
At
and
the,
reply.
at the rate
right?
we're going, like your WebOS
WebOS.
fantasies are the answer to every question.
That's a good point, though. Like,
didn't
to be able
WebOS tie your
to be able
shoes
to
for you?
reply in line, in the notification would be,
Yeah.
incredible.
I just read this entire article in the Times about HP's like woes and struggles in this sort of brand new market that's accelerating towards tablets and the cloud. Not a single mention of Palm.
Are you serious? That's stupid.
It was
Yeah.
just so sad.
No offense. All right. Any other predictions? We got to move on to one
I
more
like
call.
the Siri translation.
Siri
idea.
translation is interesting.
well-
Yeah.
I think that they will, add another line of things, and I think they'll add widgets like the ones currently in the notifications onto the screen.
You mean like the
Oh,
weather?
yeah.
You mean in the place of where the widgets? Oh, that would make sense.
Yeah.
That would make sense. Is
Yeah.
to use that space for like widgets you could swipe through, and then that's where your notifications appear.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
If they do that, man, I could go back.
That way they
but
never cover anything up,
probably not.
except when you're in like a 16:9 movie.
I don't know.
mode.
Sparrow's pretty good though. If I had Sparrow, I don't know, man. I don't want
Wait,
to.
you're finally coming around to Sparrow?
Well, I mean, for
On the phone.
iOS,
It's not on your
I just
computer
like.
yet?
It doesn't. Don't
So
get me
good.
started. Don't get me
So
started.
good.
It is good. It is very good. But I'm so used to like how quickly I can move in Gmail. I feel like Sparrow's always playing catch up. All right, we got to move to another call. Caller, thank you so much for dialing in. Andrew, was it? Andrew, thank you for calling in.
Get out
All
of
right,
here.
caller, you're on the air. What's your name and what are your dreams and or nightmares about iOS 6?
Well, hi, my name is Joe, and I think that, I think one of the things that we could see is some more streaming stuff, like better music stream. I mean, any music streaming in the native music app would be fantastic. And like, I had to restore my iPhone recently, and one of the last things it does is download all the music that you had on there previously. I thought, you know what? This could be a lot better.
Can't you stream now from your collection?
From iTunes in the cloud.
Yeah, from iTunes in the cloud.
Well, you can. It's just it simultaneously downloads it while you are listening, so you can technically stream, but it's kind of like.
Yeah.
But then you have
They
it.
really
to
emphasize
listen to
downloading
again.
it.
Maybe they'll announce the purchase of Spotify or REO.
Wait, so you just like your phone is too full, so you don't want to?
No, I think
just
she's saying
slow.
the implementation is bad. Like you can stream from RDO or from Spotify, just like stream it. You don't have to download the file.
Yeah, but I like to get the file onto my
You know,
phone.
here's the
because
feature
then
that I
I can
want.
use it offline.
That I love
you
on
can
Android
still do that, I
and
assume.
bothers me is not on iOS is I can be in Spotify and say put this on my mobile, like download it and or RDO. I can say sync to mobile. In my Android phones, just do it. They just
my
get
my
it.
RDO sync has been messed up.
you
on
have to
my
open
phone.
up your
Yeah, but
app on
and it's
iPhone.
like that is so pointless. To me.
Wait, what do you mean? What are you saying?
So if I'm in RDO,
Yeah.
and I say I like the song, sync to mobile.
Yep.
My Galaxy Nexus, the RDO app just like does it.
Yeah, what does it do on
Like if
iOS?
You have to open the app and like sync it.
What?
Yes, it's
No,
very annoying.
come on.
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, it's really really terrible.
That is crazy.
And that's like these apps are still limited. They're all in these little sandboxes.
they are really.
And
limited.
Apple has to like let them do things. Like you have to
Let
let
them
app
run.
developers do
Not like
stuff.
the open landscape of Android.
Yeah.
They're all great though. They all deserve a pat on the back and a handful of peanuts. All right, caller, thank you. Any other predictions besides the streaming stuff?
Well, I mean, just on that streaming angle, I think the video streaming. I mean, they already have a UI for it in the video app. I think like Apple TV like video streaming.
Oh, sure. So you don't have to download.
yeah,
You don't have to download a whole show. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Not over 3G. Not over 3G though.
Actually,
But over LTE.
there was the latest iOS update, FaceTime over 3G.
Yeah. Well, that's gonna be.
Yeah, that's a thing.
I mean, since you can
Wait.
do it with lots of other
It's
apps.
out now.
No, there's like
a-
hints of it in the new build.
There's like
That's
a
exciting.
screen that's like a turn. What is it?
That's been a long time.
if
Coming.
you turn off like cell data or something while you're in a FaceTime call, it says this might interrupt your FaceTime call.
Yeah. It's circumstantial.
Well, I think, that's like, how iMessage routes around text messaging?
Yes.
I mean, I definitely think that if they build out FaceTime just a little bit and let you use it over 3G connections, they could get away from voice calls.
Game changer.
That's a big deal.
All right, caller. Thank you so much for dialing in. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
We
I
wrap?
say all the callers had really good audio quality today.
All the callers.
Yeah.
I want to say, callers, you're crushing it. Great job on the audio quality.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. You've taken
You're
everything.
the one.
They've
we
taken-
believe in you.
We believe in you. They've taken everything, but you've got a little bit more to give.
Own it.
Own it. Crush it. And that's full circle. All right, that's our show for the week. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at vergecast@theverge.com. You can send leave a comment on the post, or you can post a forum topic about the Vergecast if you want in our forums.
Really?
It's up to you. Whatever. It's you have it your way. Just like Burger King.
God.
You could also find us on Twitter. The Verge is @Verge. I'm Joshua Topolsky. Nilay is Reckless.
Whatever.
I mean,
dude.
Paul's future Paul, but he was not going to answer you for a year.
Oh, by the way, your domain is expiring. Somebody sent us an email. Do you
What
want me to
domain?
renew pauljmiller.com?
I set up some auto renews for some of my domains.
How do you know he's domain?
Wait, so
is
Somebody emailed-
someone looked at my Whois to see
Yeah.
when my domain would expire.
Yeah, so somebody tried to
someone's
spy
trying to
your
buy
domain.
it.
That's
But
great.
somebody tweeted or emailed or something.
Well,
that you're
I would
saying.
just like
telling
to
what
say
kind of
that
attack
if
you
any
could-
of my domains do expire, please purchase them, and I will purchase them off of you at a slightly higher
the
amount.
proceeds.
Yeah.
With the proceeds from
I've
his.
had one of my domains squatted before.
Yeah.
It was a crushing thing.
Which one?
I started a
Oh my God, you're gonna hit Christian Scott Band.
no, I
aren't you?
started a website when I was like 13 called Skippy Republic.
What is that
I'm
about?
gonna find out.
It expired.
It's about the peanut butter.
No, it's about like
It's open, man. You want to buy this for you again?
Sure. It's a dog. It's a dog. The problem is that the domain lapsed, and then I had a hard time finding the files in there, and then the hosting. It was just all big.
Well, you were 13.
But I was running. It was like a news website about like video games and anime, and I did a weekly webcomic.
You're getting the red.
And Skippy is like a dog puppet.
All right, that's our Vergecast. We'll be back next week. And as I was saying, I'll be on late night tomorrow with some gadgets and making a fool of myself in some way, which should be cool.
Late at night.
Any messages for Bill Hader or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Tell Kareem I'll get him next time.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means. All right, that's it for us. Thank you guys for listening and watching, and we'll be back next week. And as always, I wish you and yours the very best.
Rock and roll.
Paul.
Paul.
Paul.